Call the meeting to order. Please rise and pledge allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Ask for a moment of silence, please. All righty. I'm going to go ahead and call the roll. I'll start with Commissioner Culberson.
Here.
Cause.
Here.
I'm here.
Here.
Mr.
Here.
Stephen. All right. Commissioner present. Okay, I don't think there's any comments this morning. No, if there's not, I'll move on to administrative business. Mark?
Just a couple of things. One, it looks like the infrastructure and transportation bill at the federal level is moving forward, so keeping an eye on that. National Association of Counties does a really good job of providing updates and also weekly webinars to just kind of brief you. Even sometimes it's just we don't know anything yet, but at least they have them. So really very happy with our membership with that association. I feel like we get more at that level than we do at the local level even. So very happy with that. And then the broadband grant that we discussed a few weeks ago, staff was able to get that submitted down to the wire last night. I appreciate Mr. Knoll coming back from a trip that he was planning to make sure that got taken care of. The other side of that grant application, Charter Communications, was a little remiss on getting their stuff submitted to us on time, and so it did make a little challenge, but staff was able to knock that out, and so now we'll see.
Great. I know it was a last minute
Bill.
bill. That was great. Thank you, Bill.
Bill deserves a steak dinner.
Was that an offer?
I think Bill and I both need to take Mr. Powers out for a steak dinner. Neither one of us made his retirement yesterday, and we've been trying to get there for a year. It was canceled last year, so we had his retirement.
I totally forgot about that.
You know, something came up for me too. I couldn't make it, and Bill couldn't make it, so we're going to have to get together with him in the near future.
Yeah. Mark, you have anything else?
Unlike some people, he'll probably only retire once. So.
No, he's already done that 2 or 3 times.
Yeah, I knew that. That's why I was saying.
Yeah.
So that was all I had.
Okay, Commissioners, y'all have anything? At this point? Anything?
When we talked about that RV, if there was anything we could do, emergency on the RV, didn't we already hold that public hearing on that rezone? On that? The rezoning, the County Road 1 corridor rezoning. Didn't we do a public hearing and automatically rezone all that?
Yes, but I believe that may not have affected the trailer park. I'll have to check, Commissioner. I do know that there is a standing request that the trailer park be allowed to have RVs in it. I need to confer with Ms. Voth, but I'm not certain if she's here today.
She is.
She is.
Okay.
I would ask for some direction if there are means whereby legally RVs could be parked there. Is it the desire of the board to do so? I know that there's a construction project ongoing, and evidently workers wish to utilize RVs to park next to their job site. The nearest available parking site, I believe, is a KOA campground in Douglas County, which is approximately 11 miles away. If that's something the board wishes to entertain, we can pursue that as a goal. But again, it would have to be something that could be legally done.
That's correct.
I think most definitely that's the goal.
Yep.
Absolutely. I don't
Yes.
think, Vicki, anything? I think definitely we got something like that coming in. That's what we're here for. Make those decisions.
Would you need?
No, I take that as a general.
Okay.
I will tell you this: if that's the case, then I intend to pursue that as a goal, unless you tell me otherwise.
March on, young man. Okay, Commissioners, anything else? Okay. All right, I'll go ahead and look for consent agenda. Is there anything we need to pull?
I had a question on the minutes. It was discussed last week. Mr. Stevens brought up about a letter, and I thought we were going to wait until the census numbers came out, and since then they have, and discuss it further. It says that it was consensus of the board to send a draft a letter to send. Was I wrong on that?
What?
I thought we were going to wait till the numbers came out and discuss it to whether we on the Senate seat.
I thought we had to, because we don't know what.
Right, I agree.
We don't
But
even
the
know if
numbers
we
did
can
come out.
redistrict without.
They
the
came out
number.
on Thursday.
Came out
night.
Thursday. We had our meeting on Wednesday,
Yeah.
and we increased 7%. Does that sound right?
7.4.
7.4%. So what is? I mean, I know this is consent agenda stuff we're talking about, but what is the magic number to have us?
I have that written down. Because I asked
I don't want to
them,
get off in the weeds here too much.
That's a good question, though, Doug.
they gave it to me at that meeting. The magic number for a Senate seat is 76,000.
Okay.
And we have, actually, they said target is 75,000. But I understand we have 82,000.
So is it mandatory they do it, or will they do it on their own, or is this?
What they did of course, last time it was drawn by the courts. And Leavenworth County we got butchered up by the courts, and it could end up in the courts again.
That's what I figured.
But if we take a position, at least we're letting the committee know what our position is.
By butchered up, you mean lines running through houses? Then yeah, you're right. Because that's what they did. They ran lines through houses. So letting the courts do it is not a good idea.
I remember they put Melanie Meyer and Jana Goodman, they put their district, they put them in together. So, yeah, it just depends on how everybody feels about it. I mean,
I personally don't want to see us lose representation, though. Right now we have 2 representatives.
My only concern with that is too, and I've thought about this really hard because it's definitely going to change. A lot of times we didn't have representation that was in the county. We're fortunate enough to have it in Leavenworth County now, that so we get to share, let's say 11 or something like that. But there's been times that they've been outside the area that I don't think the city or the county's been represented. Now, if we knew we were always going to get somebody to share that, like we have now, then I wouldn't have a problem with it. And I guess the reason I look at that is I remember when the county commissioners, there was only 3, had good county commissioners on this, but the one that covered Lansing lived in Leavenworth, and Lansing was not intentionally, but Lansing was not covered or further down south. So I got some mixed feelings of that. My other question was, what did we decide to do on that? Did we decide to hold off on that and have more discussion on that, or what did we do with that when we brought it up last week?
I thought I'd mentioned, and I did mention, I'd rather hold off until we got the numbers.
That's what I thought.
And to see what percentage we increased, and then that came out the next day.
You're right. That's right. That's right. Okay.
I don't. Since it was brought up in the meeting, of course, I've had a lot of people contact me.
Oh, absolutely.
And I thought we were waiting too for the numbers. And originally, right at the beginning of it, I agreed with Mike that it sounds like a better idea to get 1 representative specifically for our area. But the more I've had time to think about it, I think it might almost be better to have 2 representatives for half of the areas. So
That's kind of the way that's kind of where, after I got to thinking, it's kind of like with
So you
Jeff,
really
is
have
it-
2 reps.
Where is it that
When
they?
did Atchison County increase? You know?
I don't know.
I don't know.
Maybe they'll come into Leavenworth County.
Right, that's where. Yeah, that would be better yet.
Area.
Is get 3.
Well, I'll give you an example. In District 3, which is my senatorial district, Leavenworth County consistently votes for the opposite representation that we have gotten, and we are represented because of the district, the way most of the district, a little percentage of the district is greater than the Leavenworth County percent in Douglas County, and the the other senator prevails typically by 800 votes last 2 elections, and then our county has very little representation in our district. I think that's the feeling of a lot of my constituents. So they felt like Leavenworth County, if we were represented by our own senator, and certainly when you have the military base and you have the correction facilities and all of the things that we have in Leavenworth County, it seems like we have, we're the 6th largest county in the state. It seems like we should be represented.
But then, as the largest, but to only be represented by one senator versus more than one senator, is my point, is...
But that district actually is dominated by KCK. You could end up with 2 senators from outside of Leavenworth County that, we have Jeff Pittman, we have Senator Pittman, but right now, but there's no guarantee that it's the way the district is.
But before we had Steve Fitzgerald.
Well, and then we had Kevin Braun.
And Kevin Braun. I'm just...
Kevin was from Wyandotte.
But
But he represented Leavenworth well.
Right, but represented...
Senator Braun did.
Right. I'm just...
Yeah.
My concern is giving up having the potential for 2 representatives. That's just...
Well, that is a concern, because we can't get a tornado bill passed with 2.
Yeah. Well,
Okay.
I think it's just something to
I'd
discuss
like
further
to
in
think
its work session.
And I just wanted the minutes to,
Show that, yeah.
correction.
Yeah, I'd like some more time too. I'm looking at both sides as I'm kind of torn on
Right.
it, but more time will
And
probably.
I've talked to quite a few people. I'd like to talk to a few more.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I have
Because
to.
my area doesn't, but right up to Wyandotte County,
Yeah.
like yours.
Yeah, yeah.
So are you asking for an adjustment to the minutes?
Yes.
Okay.
With
To reflect.
that would be more discussion after these numbers came out, and they have since came out. And that's all I had.
Is that a motion to accept the consent agenda with that change?
Yes.
Yeah.
Second.
Motion second. Any more discussion?
I had a little discussion. It also includes appointing the planning commission member for my district in the consent agenda. So that position will be filled.
Any more? All right, we got a motion and a second. Mr. Culberson?
Aye.
Cons?
Aye.
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 Mr. Stephen? All right. Formal board action. Consider a motion to approve a 5-year lease agreement with Foley Equipment for 3 Caterpillar motor grades, graders for the year 2022. Good morning, Bill.
Morning, Bill.
So today, for your consideration, we have a request for approval of a 5-year lease agreement replacing 3 Caterpillar motor graders for the 2022 cycle. We are currently bidding and procuring a lot of equipment for 2022. The lead time on equipment and vehicles has gotten extremely long through the pandemic, and so most items are 6 to 12 months out. And so we are bidding these now for a 2022 replacement. Full Equipment has honored the guaranteed trade-in value of $133,000 for the 2017 model year motor graders. Their bid annual lease payment was $25,661.73. They have also made a trade-in amount offer of $48,010 for the 2007 model year grader, with an annual lease payment for the replacement of $44,018.51. All 3 machines have a 5-year warranty, including fluid and filters and preventative maintenance, for the full term of the 5-year lease. These Caterpillars are going to replace the 2 current 2017 140 M3 machines. The replacement machines are a 6-wheel drive capable machine with the front end attachments on there. And so we did receive a second bid from John Deere for this matter, but they had an incomplete bid that wasn't properly put together, and they ultimately thought that they were 5-year guaranteed buyback machines. The 5-year guaranteed buybacks that were offered on graders ceases to exist. They did transition a number of years ago. This is not a new revelation that they should not have been aware of. And so they just failed to read the bid documents correctly. They also had some other errors within their bid documents that were non-typical errors to be seen from John Deere. And so, therefore, we were left with the one bid that was accurate, but it did seem to be, had we been able to, as best we can analyze, it would have probably been the low bid either way. The goal of the way that we bid these was they had changed from a 5-year guaranteed trade-in to a 5-year guaranteed buyback. Then they did transition to some guaranteed trade-ins, and now they are transitioning out of guaranteed trade-ins because they're more or less similar. And so what we are trying to do is maintain the same cost depreciation schedule and with some guaranteed acceptance into that 5-year cost of these machines. With that, I'll answer any questions you may have regarding these.
Commissioners?
Purple Wave wouldn't be a better option for that 140 VHP plus. Isn't that the one you're talking about?
Yeah, we discussed that going into this, and it's hit or miss with the graders. We didn't know how the graders would go on.
Well, and you can't put a reserve.
You can't put a reserve. Currently, we do have the loaders on there, and the case is with
26.5. Yeah, the Doosan's like crap like price,
$1,800, and so. We discussed that with vehicles a lot, whether you purple wave them or trade them in. We have done both here since I've been here, based upon risk tolerance.
Yeah.
You just never know. So we try to weigh our options. With Foley and Caterpillar giving us the trade-in, I think we were comfortable because we had the option of denying that $44,000 trade-in. But after discussing it with Purple Wave and what they had seen, it was really close in current market to what we would get for a 2007 with.
It used to be a nice machine.
Pretty rusted out now.
Yeah. Well, I've been going out there almost 5 years, and it was old then.
And it was rebuilt about 6 years ago. It had that full frame. That was
that one.
Yeah, that was one of the two that.
I thought it was.
There was a 2007.
Is this number 25?
Yes.
Oh, okay. This isn't.
This isn't the oldest machine.
Okay.
There is.
I used to have the 6-wheel 143.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So there was two that got in frame over completely.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Yeah, this is a machine. Yeah.
And so two of them did, and
right.
the other one is still in.
We got the cab rebuild. Okay.
Any other questions? Anything else, Vicki? Jen?
So we've kind of pretty much moved to lease versus purchase of equipment.
Looks like
What's that?
trying to transition to leasing instead of
Versus purchasing equipment. Is that
what we're trying to do is maintain the cost of the 5-year ownership of a machine or 5-year usage of a machine. And so with them not guaranteeing this goes back to risk tolerance. So
right.
With them not guaranteeing a trade-in value or a guaranteed buyback, we are able to see what their price is up front now versus at the end of the 5-year trade-in value of the machine. So basically we are seeing the upfront cost instead of the tail-end cost with the trade-in. So, not being able to project a 5-year market and having been typically replacing these on a 5-year schedule with the buybacks, we felt that this was probably our best option. It does create a situation where the current machines with the $25,000 annual payment is not going to be future because you're getting the $133,000 guaranteed trade-in value up front for the existing machines and transitioning to a lease. So typically what we'll see in the future is probably a payment around $55,000 yearly for a 5-year cost of ownership of about $250,000, which has been what our historic cost of ownership has been near. So
well, it was a lot easier to figure when it was a guaranteed buyback. You could do your life cycle cost very easily then.
Right.
But there's a reason why they don't offer that anymore, because the risk went on them, and times are good, it's all right, but when times got bad, they were overpaying for graders.
But by leasing, we're not waiting to the end of the 5 years to know that cost. So the cost is up front. So it kind of takes the risk of the 5-year ownership cost out of the situation. So that with these machines, that's why we ended up leasing.
The guaranteed buyback took the risk out of it too.
Thank
That
you.
was a lot easier.
Mike, do you have anything on this one? Okay. I'll take a motion.
I move that we approve the 5-year leases for the 3 motor graders.
Second.
You're going to put an amount in there. 95,341.
What was it?
The 95,300.
Yes, that's the total cost of the 3 leases per year.
95,341.
Okay.
95, yeah.
$95,341.97.
Second.
Motion and second. Any more discussion? All righty.
I like that one.
Go ahead.
We're going to be able to, in the future, as we keep paving roads, be able to get rid of one grader. You got 10 motor graders.
Well, currently we have one that remains. It's not this one. We have one that we do own that we probably wouldn't spend a lot of money repairing that we do use during snowstorms. And so we have 10. We run 9 grader districts. We have one if another machine's down or we have real muddy weather or we have a snow event that we are pulling from. It's just a backup as we transition to all leases. Then each one of these machines would then have a cost associated with them because we wouldn't actually outright own any. Currently, unless we were to do repairs on that machine, which we wouldn't do overly expensive repairs to it probably, but right now that machine's
So we won't have a brand new machine sitting around as a...
No, right now we still have a 2005, I believe, the oldest one. There's one that's actually a couple years older than this one that isn't in as good a shape, that is in better shape than this one because it's been used as that pre-owned spare one, and so that's why we did elect to use the 2007 as the cab corners are rusting out and it's starting to get a lot of dust in it, and it's used on a daily basis. So yes, in the future, I think that we could have that discussion when they all start to have an annual cost. Right now, that machine isn't really, it has value, but it doesn't have an annual budgetary cost.
Okay.
Anything else there?
No, sir.
All righty. Nothing else. I'll call a roll. Commissioner Culberson?
Aye.
Commissioner Cos?
Aye.
Aye. Commissioner Smith?
Aye.
Commissioner Stephen?
Aye.
All right. Thank you, Bill.
Yep, thank you.
All right. Presentations, discussion. I think we start the quarterly reports. Building and grounds. Good morning.
Good morning, Commissioners. Quarterly reports. So we are full-fledged, neck-deep in mowing and construction projects. So the transfer station, the scale is set. We are waiting on the building that is a metal building to be delivered. That one's on slight back order. We're supposed to have it here shortly. Waiting to hear back from KDOT Transit on the grant application that Bill, myself, and Connie worked on to see if we're going to receive any grant funding. They said by the end of August we should hear back from it, so waiting on that one. The big ticket item is Cushing, so we're about 95% done with construction design. They're hoping to finish up items and kick out discs for us to release to Drexel at the end of this week, beginning of next week. So then that way we can start moving forward with a general contractor on Cushing for our remodel. Currently we have JIOC over there, which is the Community Corrections Juvenile Intake. rather than them having a full transport where they bounce around all over the county to different sheriff's offices and police offices for juvenile, that they are in the emergency room that helps occupy the building, as well as our nighttime custodian over there, so that way we cut down on any possibility of vandalism. The abatement process is about complete. I don't know why you got the bill. I've already called them and let them know that needed to come to Buildings and Grounds.
Say word, Doug.
I think that means you're on the hook for it.
That's what I'm saying.
Don't help me, Mark.
The JDC remodel is underway. All the demo is complete. They're starting to put back. Block went back in yesterday. That's going fairly smoothly. About 10 weeks out on doors. That's our long ticket item right now, are getting doors in. So those are already ordered. Sewer district wise, I was directed by county admin to work with the city of Lansing as well as Baser on our possibility of decommissioning our sewer districts. Both have come back with items that they would like. I've passed it along. From there, it'll be us kind of meeting and seeing where you guys want to take that on the decommissioning. Other than that, that's about what we've been up to.
Not much, huh?
What's that?
Not much.
No. Just staying busy.
So on Sewer District 5,
Mm-hmm.
Baser presented a study number of 21,000.
21,360, and that would be. They have. Dang it. Who was their engineer on that one? MHS was their engineer on that one that had already done all their design work, and that would be their cost to do an analysis of what it would take for them to take Sewer District 5 on.
Seems like a reasonable
It
price to me.
does. It really does.
The Lansing one, so Lansing has really literally no interest in taking Highcrest unless we have interest in taking the line from the back of the high school out to Kenneth Bernard. Because then from there it'll be cresting that hill and bouncing over to take Highcrest. And cost associated with that, they came out with those numbers, and that was one of those.
Yeah, I mean, it would be
Because you're basically a diagonal run of about a mile and then a mile up from Kenneth Bernard to crest that hill to the high crest. So you're talking about 2 miles worth of pipe.
Yeah, and that property just west of the high school, county commissioners allowed us to annex when we purchased the thing years ago. So that 200 something acres is developable. Boy, that's a long way out. I tell you, and maybe it's just me, I thought we were trying to get out of the sewer districts, and this one on the Baser one looks like one we could probably look at real quick. Just my opinion.
I think internally we had estimated somewhere around $1 million to run that force main up to their closest manhole basers. So the 21,000 to get a firm number on what it would cost be.
Yeah,
I thought that was very reasonable for the study.
So, am I correct? We can use the ARPA funds for these type of projects?
I'd have to look into that with the county councilor. I think we could. However, the sewer districts are designed to be self-funded, and they're not allowed to be supplemented by county revenue. So I'm not sure if those grants would be considered differently or not. But we can definitely look into that.
We just don't want to end up with another Glenwood.
Definitely.
That was all I had for quarterly, unless anybody has any questions.
We talk sewer districts all day long.
No, thanks.
it won't make us happy, but we talk about. Any questions, commissioners? Anything else?
So I guess what do we do on the high crest? If KDHE says, "Hey, you got to do something with these lagoons."
Our best solution for High Crest is to have KDHD come in, because at that point it would be forced to the closest local.
Okay.
So it's one of those things. High Crest will probably be the last subdivision that, or sewer district, that we actually offload and decommission.
So we won't.
And it'll have to be the expansion of either Baser north to it or Lansing west to it, whoever gets there first.
Okay.
But until then, it'll be
Well, I
us
mean-
maintaining grinder pumps.
Okay, but I'm talking about the lagoons herself. Would they ever have to be cleaned out or anything?
We are seeing silting on that one. The depth on it will most likely, before we decommission it, we'll have to clean it.
That's okay. Okay. Sounds like we're not going to have to worry about it.
Any other comments, questions? Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Aaron.
Have a good day.
You too, thank you.
I don't think it's silt.
Okay. Public Works, Bill, your turn again.
Okay. Are we ready for the Public Works quarterly report? So, we'll start with the road and bridge portion of the quarterly report. In 2021, we have a chip and seal projected mileage of 96.7 miles. They're well into that. We have hauled in areas that we're doing patching prior to that chip and seal, 80,970 tons to date. I skipped a line. That was 7,715 tons of asphalt. 80,970 tons of aggregate has been spread this year. We have placed 5,440 feet of the double chip and seal dust control for privately funded projects that are through the dust control program. We placed 37 entrance culverts. I think one of the other aspects that we had struggled with in 2020 that is highlighted here is that we had 13 new hires in the last quarter. Well, that sounds like a lot. The last half of last year, we had 66, and so we were averaging 33 a quarter. We were processing people on a continuous basis, so that is down considerably from the previous year in 2020. And so that is a good sign. We are retaining some of the new hires, and we aren't turning over nearly as many IOC workers as we had been, as we did reduce the number of IOC positions and replace those with a fewer number of some full-time staff. As of when this report was prepared and currently, we did only have one vacant. We had two vacant positions, one heavy equipment operator and the county surveyor position within Public Works. We are transitioning a couple Public Works employees that work on GIS duties into the GIS budget for the 2022 cycle. Is there any questions on that portion of it? I'd like to
County surveyor, any luck
No,
on that?
we've had zero licensed surveyors apply for the position, and so we've had zero qualified candidates to even consider for the position to date.
That's too bad.
So more than likely, that indicates, one, a lack of surveyors, and two,
Hey,
a need for an increased salary.
what is the current salary of that position?
I believe it topped out at $93,000.
Okay.
And that's been the entire last 3 months that we've had that position advertised. I would really like to say thanks to the road department staff and all staff, really, but the road department staff on the chip and seal miles. 96.7 is a good goal, and last year we exceeded that goal. Within the budget, last year oil prices were a little lower, but I think 96.7 miles, around 100 miles every year, is obtainable, and they do a really good job of putting in the work that it does require. Moving down a bit, we can look at the budget numbers. I think that all the departments are in pretty good shape for this time of year. GIS is currently still under the umbrella of planning and zoning. It has not been split out, so that number, the 72.7% number, is a bit arbitrary at this point. Next year it'll be more accurate as they'll be standalone within the general fund underneath Public Works. Noxious weed, they are continuing to sell chemicals at their location. All the roads have been mowed once, some have been mowed twice, and this week they have started up back again in the north part of the county in the eastern Kickapoo and Alexander Township.
Good.
They've been clearing the only tree clearing that we've been doing, the large tree cutting, has been after storms during the summer. Our sprayers, the sprayers are currently spraying Johnson grass and Sharicia Lespedesia within the county. For those of you who aren't familiar with noxious weeds, they bloom at different times and they come up earlier in the year. And so currently that's the ones that we are targeting. Earlier in the year we would have sprayed thistles and bindweed.
Bill, does noxious weeds, they ever hired like a tree trimming service bucket truck?
Have they?
Come out? Yeah.
Yeah,
Are
we
they
hired.
currently doing that now?
We did last year on several roads before the dust abatements, and we'll probably do that again in some areas in the fall. I know that they had gone around and cut a lot of trees because they've got we're going to do some chip and seal work, overhanging trees. It is very expensive.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah,
But
but
if
it
having
has
money in the budget left over, probably
has to be done.
be good use.
They were up on 18 last week working.
Our crews.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I'm talking about getting the stuff that we can't reach,
Oh.
that grows over the
Power
road.
lines.
Oh. Well, the boom mower that they've got has got
Yeah.
what is that, a 30-foot boom on it?
Yeah, you can get some limbs with
It's
that.
pretty.
Yeah.
It's pretty tall. 20, probably 20 foot. And it looked like they were working in tandem with power company because they were clearing lines, and so they were leaving a strip between the lines and the road. So it looked like your guys were.
We were
getting
trying to
what was in
follow
the middle. Yeah.
Brush to take over quick.
Yep. Looks good.
No, the forestry attachment to the machine does a really good job on that, on the right of way.
Mm-hmm.
Some of these trees,
Yeah.
years
you're
and
right.
years ago.
There's
you know,
taller ones. Yeah.
I don't think we need a good ice storm to get rid of some of them.
That's what's going to happen.
We don't need a nice
We don't need an ice storm.
Yeah. So on number 3, fleet management, we did attach to this, but not printed out, was a spreadsheet that we do have a replacement schedule for all county departments and all vehicles within the county through the enterprise lease program. Vehicles are extremely back ordered right now. Currently, we do have 23 vehicles on order. Most of those will have delivery until the end of the year or the beginning of next year. And we do have 60 GPS and cameras installed in different vehicles and equipment. And so we do have that ongoing within fleet services.
Did your one loader make the replacement schedule? Did it make its deadline for the replacement schedule? The one loader that's on Purple Wave?
Yeah, those did. And so
Both of them?
What's that? The replacement, the Doosan?
Well, I didn't want to mention the name.
Oh, so no, that one was depreciated out next year, and so it was an 8-year depreciation, and it made it to year 7, and the cost of the repairs it needed were almost as much as the next year's depreciation. So the brakes, just to replace the brakes on it that needed to be replaced, there was a 6-month order. Basically,
I'd like to see the life cycle cost analysis on that machine.
We could probably do one because at $1,700 the current bid, even if you get a machine that costs $40,000 less, the overall cost is increased because
and you only got to run it 3,000 hours or something like that.
Yep. And the brakes are $14,000 to replace them.
And your other loader's probably got 7,000-8,000 hours on it, and it's bringing a lot more money.
26,000.
Just want to throw that out there.
Yep.
I didn't want to. I was against buying it.
All right, go ahead, Bill.
So fleet management is up and operating, and doing a very good job of managing all the fleets, the WEX cards, and the GPS and camera installations, and keeping all of that very organized. County Surveyor, we did mention that already. We have not had any applicants for that position. We did hire a survey tech with very little experience in order to work under my license, but because we do need someone that we can send into the field to recover section corners and mark right away for tree clearing. We have this summer had our intern doing that all summer, and it's been very successful. And so we are going to transition to a survey technician in order to do that. He does start here in the end of next week, and we will get him trained up into a manner that he is going to be busy. He could be busy for years. There's a lot of survey work and record keeping. I know Commissioner Culberson has mentioned in the past, but there's a lot of work to be done. The reviews for the surveys are being completed on contract with Olson by Michael Bogina. I'll quickly, as they are in the weekly reports, I'll quickly mention the 3 ongoing projects. We do have the second quarter report, and we can discuss any that you'd like at the end. But the Eisenhower Road project is moving along. We have seemed to have cleared the hurdle of some of the design issues that we had at the beginning of the project, and the paving is ongoing up to 20th Street. The bridge south of K32 on 158th Street had the deck poured yesterday, and so it is moving along on schedule, and we'll see some serious changes over the next couple weeks as they backfill it and start to finish the roadway. And so it had a completion date that was upcoming, because that was the 90-day window construction for that project. And so we should be concluding. There was a 1-week delay on that project because of the phone line was incorrectly relocated and did conflict with a wing wall. But overall, that project has stayed on schedule and been moving along nicely.
What was the completion final date? Do you remember off the top of your head?
Off the top of my head, I don't know.
Okay.
Approximately mid-September
Okay.
Is the deadline for that project. But
I'm getting a few phone calls on, several phone calls on rerouting and how the signage is down there and that kind of thing. Is that all squared away as far as you know now?
well, it is posted per plan, which does meet the MUTCD guidelines. We do get a lot of calls because we do not post detours, and so we do not direct traffic from hard surface roadways onto gravel roadways, and we do not post detours that are extremely long. Local traffic generally follows their own route after the start of the project. We have had a reduced number of calls since the Johnson County project on the bridge down south had kind of wrapped up, with both of those projects starting the same week. At the very beginning, we did receive some phone calls, but overall, I know we have a couple property owners who've called a lot, and on the other construction, we've had a couple of calls because there's some neighbors in dispute about a wedding venue that is permitted down in that location. But overall, we haven't received a large number of calls.
One of the somebody called me yesterday and said about the trucks not realizing they need to get on the Loring, and then they're ending up on Cantrell, and people aren't happy about that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we've had calls about that, and there's a lot of construction down there. I think there's 3 homes. I think that they're not trucks associated with the construction project as much as they are just trucks that are general contractors or construction activities, or just Amazon.
Yeah.
And so
We're going to the business down
those roads have been closed for
They've
60
ended
days.
up on a different road.
Mm-hmm.
And so most of those trucks would have gone through that detour already, and if they're continuing to elect to use the gravel roadway, placing a sign with an arrow that, without putting up barricades, is not going to probably influence their decision at this point. And so if they elected over the course of 2 months to continue to use that gravel roadway, even though they have just passed an asphalt roadway, they're going to probably continue. I know we've had requests for some dust control. We've had requests for different signage, but we've gotten requests for less signage in some cases, and we've gotten requests from certain property owners for more signage. So we try to find that middle ground where you know, in all situations.
You don't make anybody happy.
In all situations, construction is.
I want to give credit to you guys for working with like King Construction on Eisenhower for with some of the concerns that were expressed.
Yeah.
That the speed limit was reduced in order to slow the traffic down, so that moving people through an active construction zone. Because when you have an active construction zone, there's going to be some congestion. There's going to be some confusion, and I think that it has helped to at least alert people and say, hey, slow down. And then to divert the traffic and let people know there are other ways of getting around this area to.
These are temporary.
Yeah, and this is temporary situation, and as soon as it's all done, everybody's going to be happy when it's all over with. It's going to be way better. So. Yeah. But I just want to give credit there that there was the willingness of the contractor and and the changes that were made, and I think that people just need to be patient and understand that these are construction zones.
Can't do it at night while you're asleep.
When we have like Cantrell Road is being a lot of traffic routed over there, one of the questions that's come up is you are enhancing the maintenance and you're making sure that it's.
Yes, we have sent the grader down there, but I will say the number of complaints that we get when we do try to take the potholes out or we do grade the roadway is much greater, is a lot higher volume of calls when we do some of that maintenance because of the increased traffic. The guys know at the shop, the guys operating the graders all know where the projects are. They try to hit them if we get rain. I know we had an extended dry period there that they graded it at least once or twice during. And then once subsequently that occurred, we got a lot of calls about the dust because it does really increase the dust when they do grade the road. So it's that balancing act of we do know where the projects are. We only have one, maybe two graders out during asphalt season doing gravel road maintenance. And so when we do get a rain event, we do try to hit those areas. But we'll get a few calls about how rough the road is. It seems to me that we've gotten about twice as many calls after we've done the maintenance on the road because it does cause a lot of dust.
So, well, September's coming.
We got a lot of projects going on.
Yep.
I mean, everybody should be happy that this infrastructure is getting improved. And I'm just happy with all the projects coming up. You haven't been up here with a bunch of change orders.
Yeah. So far, knock on wood.
I know, but
we've had change order requests.
I'm sure you have. But
Yeah.
as long as they don't get here, I don't care.
Yeah. And we've managed to work through a lot of those, and we'll continue to try to keep those from occurring. Most things that can be handled with the bid specifications. So the other project is the other bridge down on County Route 25 or 206th Street. That project is ongoing. It is about the largest haunch slab bridge you can build, and that channel of that creek is extremely deep, and deeper than an average creek, I would say, by at least 10 feet. And so they've had to build a lot of false work, a lot of woodwork underneath that bridge structure that is coming to completion. So mid next week is the deck pour on that haunch slab, and those of you who aren't familiar with haunch slab bridges, the strength of the bridge is in the deck, and so with haunch slab, the deck pour is the critical item. And so we may receive some phone calls, depending on the temperatures that day. They may start at like 3 o'clock in the morning on that deck pour because they've got to get it done before noon, before the temperatures get real high. If it's forecast to be above 90 degrees, they will want to start, which was allowed by the contract due to the fact that we were going to be doing it in August. And so, but that will occur probably around next Wednesday, is the current projected time frame for that bridge deck pour. So we do have a lot of other projects coming up, and in an effort to expedite this quarterly report, if you have any questions about any of them, I'll try to answer them, but we won't review every single one of them in depth.
I think it's just great to see how the work's getting done, personally. Any other questions that you want to go to, or do you like to move on to? Go ahead, Bill. GIS? I'm sorry.
Well, yeah, we can. I
Okay.
was going to cover
I'm sorry.
GIS real quickly. So, in GIS,
Just going to GIS. That's
we do have ongoing projects. I think, once again, in an effort to expedite some of the discussions and allow you guys to ask some questions, we do have redundant mapping right now, which is really good. I know yesterday we had some issues with the search engine hosted by Integrity, formerly Midland, and so when there is an issue, or if any departments have individual needs, I know the appraiser's office has asked for different information. We are also hosting maps from the Esri website under the featured online maps portion of the county website. And so if there's any information that anybody would like to see added to that, the featured online maps, we can generally build that information out and provide it to the public. But there is a lot of information on that featured online map that isn't, it takes a lot of exploring to kind of look for some of it, but there is a lot of information out there that isn't available on the just general integrity map. I know, for instance, we did add the cemetery layer in there where you can search by name and pull up locations of gravestones that were previously mapped when Commissioner Culberson was down there. So we do have some features that weren't available through integrity that we have been able to add on there.
I've got an updated version of that database too for you, Bill. I'll give you when we get done.
Okay.
Any questions, comments? Okay. Good, thank you.
I have a couple
Go ahead, Mike.
On the 158th and the Tonganoxie Road projects, how are those?
So the 158th Street project, we do have a office check set of plans. We have a meeting with MHS tomorrow to review those and for them to deliver the exhibits for the additional right-of-way. There was right-of-way acquired back in 2009 for that project, or 2007, somewhere prior to 2010. But there were approximately 6 temporary construction easements and one right-of-way where the property owner either maybe didn't refuse to sell it at the time and we didn't go through the condemnation process, or there was some sort of situation there where it may have had a change in ownership and wasn't recorded. But we have one right-of-way to acquire and 7 temporary construction easements. For the most part, all of the utilities had already been relocated as part of the preliminary planning process from 2004. And so we will have some conflicts with utilities, but not overly large conflicts, hopefully. And still on schedule to hopefully bid that out in March, or have it for a winter, maybe even dirt work project, and then move into construction for the rest of the roadway in the spring. The only thing that is unknown about that is since we've been awarded that grant, we've gone through the process and have full KDOT approval. For some reason, it is stuck in their legal department at KDOT, and we have not been issued a project number. And so you can't put it under contract until their legal department has issued that project number. I've emailed them at least 5 or 6 times. They said, don't worry about it. You'll have it prior to November or October when you'd want to possibly bid this, because we can't bid it until the fiscal year changes at the state. And so
Whenever a bureaucrat says don't worry about it, you know what that means.
Did you notice the date he talked about, 2004, that this was in the works
Like,
for?
no, we're bureaucrats.
2004.
So
That's all I'll say.
We're worried.
So Tonganoxie Road is a 2023 project. Currently, you guys did approve MHS for the design of that project, and we are moving forward with that. They will do the engineering work over the fall and winter with deliverable dates set by KDOT. There will be a KDOT 18-month time frame, 19-month time frame projected for that project, and we will move into construction and funding in 2023. And so that project will occur simultaneously in the capital improvement plan with the County Route 30 currently. So County Route 30, unless we receive some funding, which we will continue to apply for grant funding for, those projects would both occur in 2023.
Hopefully we'll get some infrastructure funding.
And Tonganoxie Road, 2006 to 16 sales tax was supposed to be done.
Really?
Yeah.
Go
The
figure.
vote promised to the voters.
No.
One more question is all I have is on 158 and K32 highway, we had the traffic study. They said we didn't need a light. They put in a beacon, but part of that study also said that they would level the hill in a
Site distance.
reasonable amount of time. Can we put a little pressure or send them a letter or maybe even ask them, so when is that going to happen?
Yes, certainly we can ask them. They did, the Bonner Springs office, that region does have a new director or manager, KC Metro. The former one was promoted. I don't know if he's working out of Topeka or not, but we'll reach out to him and see if there is some sort of timeline for that. I have not been provided a timeline. I've asked if there was a timeline, and more or less the answer I got was not at this time. It is not in any funding queues.
Yeah.
And so they had discussed that in conjunction with the roundabout.
Yeah. Oh, boy.
The 158th Street project includes turning lanes and acceleration and deceleration lanes on 158th Street. That'll help the traffic that is going southbound and northbound at that location some, but it did not include grading to the east where that high spot is on K32.
And that's their own study says that there's, they need to change that. So I at least think we should at least question it.
And I just gave you some timelines that we've been working with.
Said right.
So about 20 years.
Well, hopefully we can do a little better.
Well, I'm hoping. We're trying. I mean, when you're playing catch up on some of these,
We'll all be in the retirement home.
you'll be old as grave by hoping.
Be kind, I do. Anything else, Bill?
No, that's all I have, unless you have any other questions.
Big slip out with grave.
He's looking right at me.
I'm not even. I'm looking straight
Look at both of us.
Okay, thank you.
All right, thank you.
Additional public comment. Let it go. Mark, do you and Dave have anything else for Mr. Culberson? Do you have anything?
Nope. Met with. You got me on a blank. Mayor of Lansing and Mayor of Baser last week.
Good.
Discussed several different things. So
Great.
keeping communication open.
Glad to see that. Mr. Collins?
I attended the level development meeting last Thursday. On Friday, sat in and listened in on the redistricting meeting on Friday, and then the Port Authority meeting yesterday. The City of Leavenworth did not have a work session last evening, so.
Keep you busy, young lady. Thank you, Vicki. I don't know. Commissioner Smith?
City Council meeting Baser last Wednesday, and then last Thursday I went to the ribbon cutting of the Greyhawk Elementary School. Mr. Rich Meyer was there covering the story, made the front page. A lot of people in Baser thought that was a really good story, and you did a good job, John. They're really glad the Leavenworth Times come put them on the front page. A huge turnout. I mean, you had to walk to it. Parking lots were full, and I think every kid in Baser was there.
Good problem to have.
And like I said, I missed Norm Bowers' retirement yesterday. He just can't make it all. That's it.
Stephen?
By the way, they sell the Leavenworth Times at Casey's in Baser. if you need to.
I was going to say, if
A
they
lot more
had somebody
times.
there selling subscriptions there the other night, they doubled their readership.
Still, I referred Katie, the county city attorney for Lansing, to Janet. They're still working on the sales tax, trying to get that figured out, how much it'll be and what the exact language and what the law is. And
So that didn't, I guess that didn't pass.
I don't believe it did. But
Just throw it out there.
I was at the redistricting meeting, and at the ATMOS, we got a letter back on the ATMOS, and I think we'll bring that letter to all of you in the near future. And spoke to the 30 ladies at the Cornerstone Family Worship Center little group they have yesterday, and talked about roads and talked about things that are going on in the country. And it was a very good meeting. So I had an opportunity to do that, and fielding a lot of phone calls on roads.
I love phone calls on roads. As long as we're going forward, that's a good phone call, though. Because, like I said, a couple of commissioners already said that's wait till they're done, and people are going to be very happy with it. Anything else, Mike?
That's it.
And then thank you again for the time you guys put in for getting that grant application put in
Oh yeah,
under the wire yesterday,
especially
because
last second. You
that
really-
was
yeah.
a definite under the wire deal, because it was after 2:00 before the
Well, and the guy that
stuff
was
finally
helping
came
us
in.
on,
I mean, it was.
and the guy that was helping us on the other end quit right in the middle of it. So
Right at the end of it.
yeah,
So, I mean, it was definitely
Frustration was there. Yeah, I agree with you, Vicki.
hard pressed to get it done on time.
And you did say we have the option to pull out at any time, correct?
Yes.
Okay, there's nothing else. I'd get a motion to adjourn.
option to what, Mike?
Well, I read the email
Pull
that he
out.
sent about the
Withdrawal.
that
With-
The application.
Oh, okay.
yeah.
So move to adjourn.
Second.
Motion second. Corson.
Aye.
Commissioner Connors.
Aye.
Aye.
Bye.
Aye.
We are adjourned. Thank you.